This is my first time making these cookies, so if they flop, they flop. Oh, it's leaking. My fear is that they'll be too savory. Hey, today I'm going to be making the New York Times Gochujang caramel cookies. This is my first time making these cookies, so if they flop, they flop. I hope they come out really good. If they don't, well, maybe the real cookie was the friends we made along the way. So let's get to assembling the ingredients. All right, there's all the ingredients, including the all-star ingredient, the gochujang. So the first step says to stir together 1 tablespoon of butter, the brown sugar, and gochujang until smooth, and set aside for later at room temperature. So we're going to do that. My butter's still pretty firm, so what I'm going to do is sit it in a bowl of warm water for a minute and let it soften up a little bit. So while I leave that to soften, I'm going to go ahead and combine the brown sugar with the gochujang. 2 packed tablespoons of dark brown sugar. And 1 heaping tablespoon of gochujang. But before I add the gochujang, let's check on how the butter's doing. Yeah, it's definitely soft. Oh, it's leaking. So because it's leaking, I'm just going to do a rough estimate for a tablespoon of butter and then add the tablespoon of gochujang. It smells so good. Like it smells like a whole dish by itself. So now the recipe calls for 1 heaping tablespoon of gochujang. So this is what the mixture looks like before we stir it all up. Stir. So this is what the gochujang caramel looks like, all stirred up. Step 2 says, in a large bowl by hand, whisk together the remaining 7 tablespoons of butter, granulated sugar, egg, salt, cinnamon, and vanilla until smooth. About 1 minute, switch to a flexible spatula and stir in the baking soda. Add the flour and gently stir to combine. Place this large bowl in the refrigerator until the dough is less sticky but still soft and pliable, 15 to 20 minutes. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, so I've already added in the butter. I need 200 grams granulated sugar. I'm actually going to bring out my food scale. All right, 201 grams. I feel like when a recipe calls for cinnamon, vanilla, I feel like you can just measure that with your heart. So that's what we're going to do with that. We're just going to do some cinnamon, quite a bit of cinnamon. How much cinnamon did it call for? I probably put way too much cinnamon. 1/4 teaspoon. Yeah, I put way too much cinnamon. I'm going to take some of it out. All right, there's less cinnamon in there than there was before, but still probably too much. I'll add in roughly a teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is becoming chaotic. I thought I was going to be precise in this video, but I guess not. I mean, I feel like at this point I might as well just add the salt with my best judgment too. I'll be precise. I'll be precise. 1/2 teaspoon. That's this much salt. And now for the egg. Then we mix. Then we add in baking soda and flour and let the dough rest. So I think despite the fact that I microwaved slash put my stick of butter in a bowl of warm water, I think it's still a little bit too cold. So we still have lumps in the butter sugar mixture, and it's supposed to be smooth, but I am an optimist. And so I'm going to go ahead and add the baking soda and the flour. I'll stir it a little bit more, but the baking soda and the flour are going in here because I am ready for bed. Now we get half a teaspoon of baking soda. And now we add the 185 grams of all-purpose flour. So now that all the flour is mixed in together, I'm going to give it a little taste. It's really good. Despite my lack of precision, still tastes delicious. And it's not too cinnamony. It is actually a banger for fall. If you're looking for a fall dessert, it tastes really autumnal from the cinnamon. I think with the spice from the gochujang, I think it'll taste like a really good fall dessert. So now it's time to let the dough chill in the fridge for about 20 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to preheat the oven and do a little bit of cleanup. All right, so now that the dough has chilled for a bit, it's a pretty firm texture. The way that the recipe is written, it sounds like you should be able to like swirl the brown sugar gochujang butter mixture through it in ripples, like kind of zhuzh it through. But I think this is too firm to zhuzh. So I think what I'm going to do is roll up the dough in little balls and then kind of spoon a little bit of the gochujang caramel on top. I'm also going to keep some of this in the fridge for later. I do think that cookie dough tastes better after it's rested for a few hours in the fridge. So I'm just going to make a few cookies in the oven tonight, and then I'll make the rest later. And hopefully they taste a little bit better. Hopefully they have a little bit more depth. So I'm going to go ahead and put the dough on the pan before I add the gochujang caramel. I'm going to do cookies about this size. This is how they're looking before we add the caramel. Aren't they cute? The recipe suggests 11 to 13 minutes for these cookies. I do like a doughier cookie, and so does my husband, so I'm going to do 11 minutes. I don't know how I'm supposed to get ripples through. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to plop some on top. That's going to be the strategy. We're just going to do little dabs on top. Have you ever seen Hot Ones with Sean Evans? You probably have if you're on YouTube a lot. It kind of looks like the last dab, doesn't it? Just going to do a little smear on top. I did taste the gochujang caramel, and it tasted pretty good. Honestly, it would make a good sauce on a savory dish too. You know, like hopefully that's not too much. Hopefully, we'll see. This is a trial run. So yeah, they just kind of look like tiny little pizzas. But soon they'll be beautiful cookies. They'll be grown up. All right. So into the oven they go for 11 minutes. And we're going to do a little time lapse. It's going to be so much fun. So this is what they're looking like after baking in the oven. They are crackly on top, the gochujang caramel spread, and I think they look pretty tasty. So I'm going to give them some time to cool off and I'll give you my final review. Okay, update time. So it's 11 p.m. I just got off the phone with one of my close friends, and so of course we had to talk for a while. So I am going to wrap up the video. This is what the cookies are looking like. They're definitely not a typical cookie look, but let's try them. My fear is that they'll be too savory. That's my fear. But I tasted the gochujang caramel by itself and it wasn't too savory, but I don't know, I'm just nervous. It's my first time out here. It's my first time out here. So let's see. Smells kind of like caramel corn. Cheers. It's not spicy at all. It builds up a little bit. Like the way that it looks, I was afraid that it would taste like a cookie with hot sauce on it. But it's definitely a sweet cookie. And it just kind of has a little kick at the end. It's pretty good. I mean, it is a sugar cookie recipe with a little Korean chili paste on it. With a little quick caramel, quote unquote. It kind of has a popcorn taste. Yeah. I would give those a solid 7.2 out of 10. I would say that they're pretty good. They're pretty good. What would I add? Maybe nuts. Maybe like a little... Maybe a little macadamia nut. Maybe, I don't know, something add a little texture to it. As you can hopefully see, they are nice and gooey inside. That's how I like my cookies. I like doughier cookies. It's like I keep anticipating a savory flavor just because of how they look, but they don't taste savory. They taste like caramel corn a little bit. I do still have most of the dough left in the fridge, so I'll make another batch later this week probably. And hopefully the flavor comes out even better. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed being in my kitchen with me. I hope you enjoyed this little not quite a tutorial, cooking tutorial. Let me know if you try these cookies out for yourself. And let me know if there's any other unique cookie recipes that you know of that you'd be interested in me trying. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day. I hope you're looking forward to tomorrow, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.